All right. They're just getting underway now. Putting this out there for the world to see. The first ever Inside Pitt Postgame report live from the Petersen Events Center. Waiting for folks to roll in. See if we can really get anyone for this, but we're trying it out, trying something new season, doing new things. See what happens. I did say a 9:30 start, so we're a little bit ahead of schedule. Weird being at the Pete alone like this. I really sat in this section. I'm off towards I guess I'm underneath. No, I'm opposite the big scoreboards, the baseline club. I'm like kind of catty corner from where we used to sit, where the media used to sit. I remember those days. That was only my first year, my freshman year. I've been on the Pit for 6 years now. That's unbelievable. That is unbelievable. We get closer to 9:30. We got a few minutes going here. We'll start for sure. Got questions? Make sure to drop them in chat. I'll get to as many as come in, honestly. Get started in just a couple minutes. Looking at still a 9:30 start, and we're about 4 minutes away from that. If you got questions, if you're in here already, drop them in. Stuff you're curious about. I'll get to as many as I can. Talk a little Pitt basketball. We'll talk this good start. Dominant win over Pitt-Johnstown at the Pete. There we go. That should be a little bit better. People should actually be able to hear me now. Some of the Barnes family strolling through here after the win. Marlon played about 4 minutes. Did he score? Not score. Yeah. Tough day. Tough day. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. We'll start talking some Pitt hoops right now. What a win for the Panthers to open their 2023-24 season at the Petersen Events Center. They knock off Pitt-Johnstown by a final of 96-60. The Panthers do a lot of good things. They shoot 46% from the field. They hold Pitt-Johnstown to 35% from the game, 25% from three. Panthers shoot 84% from the line. That's a big improvement off of even last year. They shot 75% for the season. A lot of good performances, headlined by Carlton Carrington. We're going to talk about him a lot. I suspect not just tonight, but throughout the rest of the season going forward. That guy certainly looked the part of a starting point guard, and he played like one. He played like Pitt's point guard of the future tonight. He was really good. Ishmael Leggett, I think you wondered coming into this game how he would handle a bit of a reduced role. I mean, you looked at the numbers from Rhode Island. He's a real volume guy, shot a lot, scored a lot of points. How does he do in a new system? Well, pretty well. He scored 12 points as well, 3 of 4 from 3. A little bit of an off night from Blake Hinson, but doesn't seem like they're worried about it. He was 1 of 6 from 3-point range, 6 of 6 from the line, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. A lot to like from this team. We'll start with Carrington. I mean, I'll go ahead and just start talking. If you got questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. I'll answer them as best I can. But Carlton Carrington starts at point guard for the Panthers, freshman, making his first collegiate start, and he looked fantastic. He looked like a guy who had played college basketball for at least a couple of years now. He was calm, he was collected, he was quick, but he was in control as well. He's clearly got some great athleticism, some great athletic skills, and he's a baller. Like he can score the basketball, but never seemed to kind of get outside of himself. I mentioned the 6 assists. 6 assists to lead the team, but also no turnovers as well. You know what the competition is, but again, this is a freshman playing in his first collegiate game. It was an impressive start for him. He was efficient from the field. He was 4 of 8 from the field, 3 of 4 from 3-point range, 2 of 2 from the line, 6 rebounds as well. Or excuse me, that was only 6 defensive rebounds, 7 total rebounds. It was really a complete game. You have to wonder how he'll get challenged when when he faces, quite frankly, Division I competition, when North Carolina A&T steps on the floor, when Duke and Carolina and Clemson and all these veteran guards step onto the floor. But for tonight, it was as encouraging a start as you can hope for. Tied the team lead in points with 13. Just really, again, so much to like from Carlton Carrington. I asked Jeff Capel pretty point blank, why did he earn the starting job? He was locked in that starting point guard competition with Jalen Lowe for pretty much the entire offseason. Those two guys came in as 4-star recruits in the class of 2023, and you wondered which one of them would kind of win out, who would kind of take over and separate themselves as this team's true starting point guard moving forward. And Jeff Capel balked a little bit. He did say, Carlton has just been, we call him Bub, or they on the team call him Bub. That's kind of the shorthand. Bub's been a good player. And you see that in the box scores from that Georgetown scrimmage, from the games that they played overseas and in Spain. But, this guy just clearly was the better of the two players, and you saw that when they stepped on the floor tonight. Jalen Lowe, I think a lot of potential, going to be a good player, but it was a little bit of a rough start. I thought a little shaky. He was able to use kind of the advantage he had in skill and athleticism and speed to score a few buckets. I think he finished with, let me look here, finished with 8 points, 3 of 9 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover. But I just thought in general looked a little shaky. It seems like he's still got a little bit of growing to do in his game and still got a ways to go before he can really start to take on major minutes for this team. He's going to have to learn on the fly. It's going to have to be, it's going to have to come quickly, and it's going to have to, I don't know. He doesn't have a lot of time to kind of work through these growing pains, because they're going to hit a regular season. They're going to hit ACC play, and he's still going to have to play those minutes. They've really only got 3 guards, I think, that you feel super comfortable with handling the ball for them and playing a ton of minutes. And Lowe is one of them. That's it. He's still got some growing to do, and he's still got some learning to do. I got one question in here. 3-point shooting numbers were decent, but I assume most were uncontested. Open shots that will fall, or something to watch? It's a good question. You look at some of these numbers. I mentioned Blake Hinson, just 1 of 6 from 3, that you figure won't carry over into the regular season. That's a guy who's going to shoot north of 35% for a season. He's proven that before, and he's done it on great volume. So a rising tide there will lift him up. Mike Hewitt Jr. isn't going to come in and shoot 7 3-pointers a game. I honestly expect the volume to go down a little bit. Of their 70 field goal attempts, 34 came from 3, and I think that's probably not going to hold for the rest of the season. I think they've got some shooters, but I don't think that this is a particularly good 3-point shooting team, especially compared to what they had last year, for sure. So I think a decrease in volume will help those numbers kind of average out, but also this just might not be that. They might not be much better than a 32% 3-point shooting team as a whole. I think that's entirely possible as well. But also, William Jeffers missed 2 threes. Guillermo Diaz-Graham missed 3 threes. Zach Austin missed 3 threes. Those are guys who I expect, at least 1 or 2 of those will fall throughout the game. Austin is in kind of the same vein as Hinston, where he has shot threes at volume, and he has made them at volume. So he is a guy that, he's not going to miss 3 threes a game. Those were the only field goals he missed all night, by the way. I think the rest were honestly dunks. But and I think Guillermo Diaz-Graham is a better 3-point shooter than that. I think Jalen Lowe is better than 1 of 4. So I think there's a little bit of, they will get better. Those shots will get more efficient and fall at a better rate, but also they won't shoot as many. I think they are a much more athletic team. I think they're going to be better at driving to the basket, and I think they've maybe got some more threats who can cut to the hole, and then also, we'll get to it in a second, but they are much better defensively, and they're going to create opportunities in transition that will artificially limit how many threes they're taking. So, I to kind of sum it all up, I think they will get better, but not much better, quite honestly. And I think it won't really matter, quite honestly, in the long run, which kind of brings me to my next point, which is that Pitt looked miles better defensively than I think they probably looked at any point at all last year. I mean, there were times where they locked it down late in games. I think of the Miami game, especially that game against Virginia, especially late. They were really able to clamp things up and shut teams down defensively. But you never thought of them as a real strong defensive team. When they lost, it was because the defense was not able to account for offense that had sagged, for them not playing, a particularly good night offensively and with that stuff kind of regressing or maybe just having an off night from three. That I don't think will be the case this year. I think they are going to really lean on their defense. And I mean, you just look up and down the roster at heights and weights, and you can see why they are going to be a better team defensively just based off those numbers purely. Just think about the starting lineup. I mean, you replace Nelly Cummings with Bub Carrington. That's 6 foot generously for Nelly versus 6'4", 6'3" for Bub. Greg Elliott versus Ish Leggett. That's probably the same height, but I think you get a little bit more foot speed and athleticism with Ish Leggett. Zach Austin versus Jamarius Burton. Jamarius Burton was a great athlete. He was no Zach Austin. Zach Austin can jump out of the gym. He's got insanely long arms. He's a big dude that is a proven shot blocker. I think he's blocked about average 1.5 or 2 blocks a game for his career. He had 2 tonight. And then, the Twins are getting more minutes. That's a bunch more length. You put 2 7-footers into your regular lineup. William Jeffress is back as well. There is just a rising tide based on this turnover, the new guys that they are putting into their lineup that are going to make them much better defensively. Like we talked about with the three-point shooting, they're not going to be much better, I think, than 35%, for the season. If they are 35%, from 3, it's a really good team. I think part of why they're not super worried about that is because they've got so many. They are going to lean on something different this year. They're going to be a different team. They are going to play basketball differently. They're going to win differently. It's going to be mostly through their defense, I'd have to imagine. Last year it was all about ball movement, all about getting those threes to fall. This year, I think they're really going to be able to lock down on guys. There were clearly some communication issues. Jeff Capel talked about that in his postgame press conference, was that Pitt-Johnstown cut really hard, confused them, and it wasn't like anything that they had really seen before in that secret scrimmage against Georgetown and then, both of their overseas games in Spain. They saw something a little different, and it clearly showed. There were a bunch of times where guys were getting beat backdoor. There were a couple times where, going around a ball screen, they were just, they missed a switch or just didn't communicate what kind of coverage they wanted. And you saw guys tapping their chest saying, my bad, my bad. That's what I think Jeff Capel was probably referring to when he said, we're not necessarily ready for the season opener on Monday night, but we will be. Those are the types of things that I think first and foremost they're going to clean up as they head into the start of the regular season. Because I think they're not going to be able to lean on their offense as much as they were last year. So defense has to be much cleaner. The communication has to be much cleaner, and it's a bunch of new guys. So you sort of understand. I mean, Federico and Blake are the only 2 returning starters. And then, I mean, even Jorge and Guillermo, those are 2 more returners, but those guys didn't play a ton of minutes until the end of the year last year. William Jeffress didn't play at all. There's a lot of moving parts and a lot of new pieces that are going to that are going to have to find their way in without, they're going to have to do it on the fly a little bit. And as the competition gets harder, they will learn a little bit more about themselves, and they will sort of be able to sort these things out a little bit better. I also do want to talk a little bit about a guy that I've already mentioned, and that's William Jeffress. He looked fantastic. This is my 6th year. We're starting my 6th year covering Pitt basketball. William Jeffress has been there for, I believe, 4 of them. Yeah, at least 4, if not, I think this is the 4th year of the 6 that I've seen Will Jeffress play basketball. He looks better than I've ever seen him. He's much more confident. He's definitely stronger. He's definitely more mobile. He is smarter. He is not just a defender. I think he's doing things off of his defense now. He's always, I think, been a pretty decent defender. That was, I think, what he built most of his reputation in high school off of. But he is using the defense to do other things. He's using his athleticism to do other things for this team. Just I think he led the team in rebounds with 8. Yeah, he did. Tied the team lead with Guillermo. He was 4-4 from the free throw line. I think that reflects a much more confident shooting stroke this year. He was 3 of 4 from the field, or excuse me, 2 of 5 from the field overall. 5 offensive rebounds, which is big. Only 2 fouls, only 1 turnover, a steal, 3 assists too. I mean, it was a really complete game from Will. You'd love it if the shooting numbers got a little bit better, right? But like, I don't think you can count on that, and I think you can live with Will being an energy guy on defense, a guy who can rebound, a guy who can put layups back, and that's how he gets all his points. He can run in transition. Hit a fantastic dunk in transition in the first half on a fast break. It's just there's a crowded wing rotation right now between Blake and Zach Austin taking up a ton of the minutes, but they are going to have to find a way to get Will Jeffress on the court. And I don't think that's going to be a problem for them necessarily. They're going to really want to do that, but there's just no way that they're going to be able to keep this guy off the court. I don't know if he's their best defender. I think he's definitely up there. I think Austin has some potential, especially on the perimeter, but Jeffress is just so strong, and he will not have to carry such a weight as a scorer that I think he can really be a great option for Jeff Capel to throw at, some of those athletic wings that you're going to, and those really talented wings that you're going to see around the ACC. Think Reese Beekman, Elliot Kadu from North Carolina. I mean, Jeffress can even, I think, guard like 1 through 4, probably. Maybe not the best guy you want in the center, but I think he has the capability to be a super versatile defender and a real weapon defensively between his length and his strength and his athleticism and his speed. There's just no other option. They're going to have to keep him on the floor, and you just think about how good defensively they could be with a lineup that has maybe Federico and maybe one of the twins, probably Guillermo, and then Austin and Jeffress and probably Carlton Carrington if you need a ball handler for that lineup. But they just have such versatility defensively, and it kind of starts with Jeffress, who can do so many different things for them. The versatility is also something that I noticed, is that they're going to be able to play with a ton of different lineups. They have such a more diverse skill set, I think, this year, and that kind of comes from the twins growing up a little bit. I think first and foremost, Jeffress coming back, and these 2 young guards that I think can do. I mean, starting with Carrington, obviously I said Lowe looked a little bit rough, but rough around the edges, but Carrington can kind of do it all. Leggett can kind of do it all. Leggett just kind of fits in, I think, where they need him to. He talked a lot post-game about just how much easier it feels to play with this team. I mean, you look at his numbers at Rhode Island, he was taking 12 or 13 shots a game, getting 16 points, but he was really carrying the offensive load for a team that didn't have many other threats. And you just watch him play out there, and he's just catching and shooting threes, taking a pump fake and a drive whenever he feels like he can find a lane. He's rebounding really easily. He's not having to guard the best player on the floor. He feels it looks so much more comfortable and easy for him, and it feels like it's true for a lot of these guys. Jeffress, the twins, guys who are growing up and taking on an easier role in their second year, and maybe just more comfortable in those roles too. But you think about all the length they have. You think about how many different types of scorers they have, how many different places they can get offense from, how many good, different solid defenders that they have, all the length that they have to help out on defense. And you look at this team as a team that can end up going pretty deep, as far as, they could probably play 8 or 9 guys on any given night, depending on matchups. They can mix and match those 8 and 9 guys with each other as Coach Capel kind of sees fit and sees the game going. That was one of the big things too, is that when they put that second unit in, so I think it was mainly, Lowe, the twins, Jeffress, and one more I'm missing. I guess Mike Hewitt was in there for a little bit, but it's mainly those 4 of Lowe, both twins, and Jeffress. So they can go pretty deep there, but that second unit just didn't look super impressive when they were on the floor just by themselves. So I think they're going to have to end up staggering some of these starters into bench units. So they're going to have to keep a Leggett on the floor when they have Lowe and those other three, with the Twins and Jeffers on the floor. They're going to need some offense, someone who can really confidently handle the ball. If it's both those freshman guards or they go 3-guard lineup with, Will Jeffers, they're going to need a Federico back there to help them man the back line, because I don't know if that's the best, defensive lineup in the world. There's a lot to play around with and a lot for them to kind of show as they move forward. But, a lot of good things to like I said. Appreciate you all tuning into this first post-game live stream. We're going to try to keep these going throughout the regular season and into the postseason, wherever they make it, if that happens. But appreciate you all tuning in. I'm headed out of here. Thanks for talking a little Pitt basketball with me. Make sure to stay tuned. Like I said, through the regular season, through the end of this week, we got more stuff coming as Pitt football takes on Florida State. We're going to do probably another live stream from Acrisure Stadium after that game, after the Panthers take on Florida State. So make sure to like this video and subscribe to us on YouTube. That's youtube.com/@InsideThePanthers, and find all of our reporting from this game and the many others to come over the weekend and moving forward through this winter at InsideThePanthers.com. Appreciate you all tuning into this time and bearing with me as I figure this out. And I'll see you next time.